Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and this is going to be kind of like the final lesson for the getting started portion for SolidWorks. And in this lesson we'll be making this pressure plate you guys are seeing on screen. So here's kind of like a 360 view so you guys can take a look at that better. And overall what we'll be using is circles, and we'll just be extruding those circles, making some cuts as well, and some fillets. Also, you guys will be learning how to use the circular pattern feature, which is up here in the features manager. And yep, right here, circular pattern. You guys be learning how to do that. And after we make this part, we'll also be making a drawing of this part. As you can see here, we've got this top view, side view. This is kind of like a cut view, so you guys will see like the interior part of that section, and here a more zoomed in a section view right there. And yeah, that's overall what's going to be going on in this video. So let's go ahead and exit out of this real quick, and let's go ahead and open up a new part. So you want to click on the house icon and go ahead and click on part. Once that loads, you want to make sure your units are in mmgs, millimeter gram second. And let's go ahead and start on the top plane. So let's go into our feature manager design tree, hover over top plane, right click, and go ahead and click on sketch. So automatically it will go to normal 2. And first of all, what you want to do is go into your sketch toolbar, go ahead and click on circle. Make sure it is a center circle. There are two types. There is the regular center circle, 2-point circle, or the 3-point circle, or the perimeter circle. You want to make sure it's the 1-2 point circles. So let's go ahead and hover over our origin, left click, drag, and then left click again to place. So once you do that, you want to head over to your sketch toolbar, click on smart dimension, click on the circle you just made, and place it by left clicking. And you want to change the value to 128 millimeters in the modified box, and go ahead and click on the check mark. So there you go. Now we have a circle with a diameter of 128 millimeters. So now what you want to do is to extrude this circle. Go into your features toolbar, click on extruded boss/base, and change your depth to 7 millimeters. And make sure your direction 1, your end condition, is set to blind. If it's not, just go ahead and change it and click on the check mark. So there we go. That's the first part we need to do to create this piece. Alright, so next up we want to make another circle on the top face of this extrusion we just made. So go ahead right here, hover over the top face, right click, and you want to click on sketch right here. Now you want to go over here in the manager tree, right click, and click on normal 2. Alright, so we're gonna basically, what we did there is we made a sketch on top of that face, not on the plane, not on the directly on the top plane. It is in the top plane, but we didn't make a sketch directly on the top plane, we made it on the face. So here we're going to go ahead and go into our sketch toolbar, click once again on the circle, make sure you have that 1-2 circle, go into your origin, drag out and left click, and go into smart dimension on your sketch toolbar, click on the circle once again, and you want this to be 75. So we're going to have a diameter of 75 millimeters. Go ahead and click on the check mark. Alright, so now we want to offset entities. So go into your sketch toolbar, click on offset entities, and you want to change your distance, your offset distance, to 5 millimeters. And you want to go ahead and click on the circle that we made previously. Now this new circle, we want it in the interior of the 75 millimeter circle. So you want to go ahead and check mark the reverse box on the manager tree. So go ahead and check on that and click on check mark. And there we go. So we basically made a new circle that's 5 distance apart from the previous circle we made. Alright, so next up we want to extrude this. Let's go ahead and click on isometric here so we get a better view. Go into your features toolbar and click on extruded boss base. And your depth is going to be 12 millimeters. Make sure your direction or your end condition is set to blind and click on the check mark. So there we go. Alright, so next up we're going to make another circle, but this time we're going to do extruded cut. So on this face that we previously made these 2 circles on, we're going to go ahead and make that next circle. So go ahead in the middle, right here where I'm hovering over, right click and then click on sketch. So we're basically making a sketch on that face, on the interior face. Go over to your feature manager design tree and go into sketch 3, right click and normal 2. So there we go. And your sketch toolbar, just pick the regular circle, the 1, 2 circle. And again, from your origin, you want to make another circle. Now go to Smart Dimension, click on your circle, and we're going to set this as a diameter of 25. So click to place. And in the modify box, we are going to change that value to 25 and click on the check mark. So now instead of extruding this circle, we are going to use extruded cut. So to do that, go into your features toolbar, and over here on the right side, we're going to click on extruded cut. So we're basically going to make a hole right there. Go ahead and give an isometric view there. Now here, we could set it, to any length, to be honest. But we can also choose through all. So it's going to go through the whole piece, which is what we want. This is what we want. We want it to go through the whole piece. As you can see here, by the arrow, we can see that's going through the whole piece. But we can also choose up to surface. So basically, our circle is on this top surface. We're obviously not going to cut upwards, but we're going to cut downwards. So we could go ahead and click on the bottom surface, and that's where it's going to cut. We click on the check mark, and there we go. That cut is made. But we could have also selected through all. Here, let me show you guys how to do that. Let's go ahead and edit feature real quick by right clicking on the cut extrusion. And here you could go ahead and change it once again. So I'm going to go ahead and select through all. So I'm going to do that. And it's going to go through all of it. So it's basically going to do the same thing, exactly the same thing. So I'm going to stick with through all because I think it's just much easier to do that than just, having to click twice and selecting a face. But it is useful, using the up to surface feature. So go ahead and choose through all, whatever you guys want, or selecting the face, and just click on the check mark. And there you go. We get that same, that same hole. Alright, so next up we're going to add some fillets. So go into your features toolbar, click on fillet. Now make sure your fillet type is on constant size fillet. And your radius here is going to be set to 2 millimeters. So go ahead and change that value, 2 millimeters. Now we're going to select the faces we want to fillet. So the faces we're going to fillet is this top face right here, this pretty thin face, between these 2 circles we made. So click right there. You get a little preview. If you have full preview on, you get this preview. You might have no preview or partial preview on. I suggest clicking on full preview so you get that, full preview, right? Go ahead and click on that. And you want to click on this second face right here. And you get those previews as well. Let's go ahead, isometric. It's already telling us right here that we're going to get a radius of 2 millimeters. And go ahead and click on that check mark. And there we go. Now we have kind of those rounded edges. We don't have those sharp edges that we had. We have those, what they're called fillets. Pretty nice looking, pretty smooth. So now we're going to use extruded boss/base with another circle. And again, we are going to make this circle on this top face we've been using throughout the whole tutorial. So go ahead and right click on the face and click on sketch. Go into your manager tree and right click on the sketch 4 and normal 2. So first off, we're going to use a line as a guide. So right here in your sketch toolbar, go hover over line and you want to click on the drop down menu. We're going to use center line. So basically what this is going to make, it's going to make a construction line. Construction line, basically what it is, it's just a line that you can use as a guide. So let me show you guys the difference here. So if I use a regular line, this line is going to be full on solid. And this is this type of line you use for drawings and for extrusions, right? Let's go ahead and delete this. But if we use center line, it's going to be a construction line. As you can see, it is, partially dotted. So if we place that, this line, as you can see, it becomes dotted. This line is not going to be able to be extruded. We can only use this line as a guide in a sketch. But this, this line is not going to be used to be converted into a 3D model. Not sure that makes kind of sense to you, but I hope it does, really. So we're only going to use this line as a guide. Let me redo this line for you guys because we do need kind of a line around 45 millimeters. So again, we're going to click on the origin, make sure you have center line set, and make sure it's vertical. So right there on that yellow kind of square you see on screen, that means your line is completely vertical. Also, you could know by looking at the degrees on the side of the length. As you can see there, it is 90 degrees. And you can see the length on the left side going up. And we want about 45 degrees or 45 millimeters. And just left click to place in and click escape. Alright, so at the end point of this line we just made, we're going to make a circle. So on this blue point you see here, we're going to make a circle from there. So in your sketch toolbar, you want to click on circle. Make sure you have the center circle or the 1-2 circle. And just left click on that endpoint. Make sure it's on the endpoint because it has to be coincident. So click on it, drag out, and click again to place. Now the diameter of this circle is going to be 27. So in your sketch toolbar, click on Smart Dimension. Click on the circle and set your diameter to 27. So in the modify box, go ahead and enter that value and click the check mark. There you go. Now it's time to modify the length of this line, and this length is going to be 35 millimeters. So with the smart dimension enabled or clicked, you want to click on the line here. And once you see the value displayed on your screen, you want to go ahead and left click to place. And the modify box, we are going to modify it to 35 millimeters, like I said, and click the check mark. So there we go. Now, the reason the circle also moved is because it's coincident with that line we just modified. So if I right click anywhere and go into sketch entities and view sketch relations, we're going to see these green little boxes. Now what these tell us is, if a line is vertical, for example here, if we see this symbol, we know this line is vertical. Or down here, if we see coincident, what it's telling us here is that this center line we made is coincident with our origin, and that's highly important. It's very important because everything has to, lock in place. It has to be coincident, or if you're working with a line and a circle, we have to know if it's tangent. If it's not, then our drawing is not going to be defined. The way you know if your drawing is defined is when all your lines are, dark or black. If your lines are blue, then your drawing is underdefined. Or you could just see down here, it's basically, directly telling us that it's fully defined. And that's what you want. You want your drawing to be fully defined. Now there is something called over defining, which means you're adding way too much relations which you don't really need. Usually SolidWorks will tell you when your drawing is over defined and your lines will go yellow and red. But that's in other cases, right? So make sure you have these relations. So here basically our circle and our center or our endpoint of this line is coincident. Therefore, it modifies with the circle we made. So make sure you guys keep that in mind because it is very important if you don't really know what you're doing. Now, an example is if you're going to add relations to something, you just want to hold control on your keyboard and click, for example, on these two elements. I'm going to click on the circle and the line. Once it goes blue, they're selected. Make sure you're holding control, and on your left side in your property manager, you're going to see a box here that says existing relations. And you're going to see if, what relations these two entities have between each other. These don't have relations because we started the circle from this endpoint, and it's automatically going to be coincident. Now we can go ahead and make it tangent, but this is going to result in an error, and it's going to be over defined like I've explained. So if I click on that, it's going to tell us, first of all, I'll put this in red because it's an error, and under here it's going to tell us that's over defined. Now we have here kind of a legend, that says item is unsolvable, or items in conflict. And basically we don't want that. As you can see, it turns red. You don't want this errors in your drawings because it's not going to work out. So let's go ahead and click on Control Z to undo that. And there, we have it fixed. Alright, so now that you have your circle at a 27mm diameter and your line at a 35mm length, you want to go ahead and extrude it. Let's go ahead and go into isometric, go into your features toolbar, click extruded boss/base, and make sure your end condition is set to blind. And now our depth is going to be set to 30. So go ahead and change that value in this box, 30mm. There you have the preview right there, and click on OK. So there we go. Now we have this extrusion right here. Pretty good. Alright, so again, we're going to make another circle as always, but this time we're also going to use the extruded cut feature. So on this face that we just made, kind of this pillar we just made, you want to hover over the top face, right click, and click on sketch. So this time we're making a sketch on top of this face. Not really directly, like I said, on the top plane, but on this face. So we're going to go into sketch 5 and normal 2. Alright, so now go into your sketch toolbar, click on circle because we are going to make a circle. And here we want a circle on the center of this previous circle we made. To do that, you want to first hover over the edge of, the previous circle, and the center point is going to appear right here. Kind of looks like a plus sign or a cross. So that's where the center point is at. And you want to left click that, and your circle is going to automatically, originate from this center point. So just drag out and left click. So once it's placed, you want to go into your sketch toolbar, click on Smart Dimension, and you want to set its diameter to 15mm. So left click, modify box, change that value, and click OK. Alright, so now we want to use the Extruded Cut feature. So in your Features toolbar, click on Extruded Cut. Make sure your end condition is set to through all this time. So it's going to go all the way at the bottom through the whole piece. As you can see, we can see the arrow that's, going through the whole piece. And we just want to click OK. And if we look at this, we can see that it made a hole through that whole pillar and through the whole piece all the way to the bottom, just as we did for this first cut we made. Alright, so now it's time to make a 2mm fillet. So go into your features toolbar, click on fillet, change the radius to 2mm if it's not already. Mine's already set to 2mm because we did do that fillet on 2mm. Your fillet type, make sure it's on constant size fillet. And here we're going to select 4 things, 3 edges and 1 face. So the first face we're going to select is this top face here. So click on that. We have a little preview there. And click on this tiny edge right here you see. So make sure you zoom in to this edge. Click on it. And once you see that, you can see that preview. It's going to fillet that whole edge if you just select that tiny part. Now with your scroll button, you want to rotate and select the other side. There you go. And at the bottom, you want to rotate, and in this hole we made previously, you want to select this edge, and it's going to make that fillet. Let's go back into isometric and go ahead and click OK. And there we have it. We have those nice roundings, those nice fillets, such as the top and the sides and the bottom. There you go. Alright, so now it's time to use that new feature you guys were going to learn today. So go into your features toolbar, and over here in linear pattern you're going to hover, and you're going to click on the drop down menu, and you're going to use circular pattern. So click on that, and this property manager is going to show up. Now what this feature does, it's basically going to rotate a element that we've made. Not rotate, but more like copy and paste that same element around a origin or around a, the center of a circle. Alright, so this property manager is going to show up, and we just have to, edit some settings here. So, but before we do that, let's go to the top left over here where it says SolidWorks. This menu is going to show up. Click on View, Hide/Show, and click on Temporary Axis. Now what this is going to show is basically the center points of, the circles we've made. So this circle that we've made is this is basically like its center line, its center axis. And the circle we made is going to show that axis as well. So here in our property manager for the circular pattern, we want to click on direction 1. Once it's blue, we want to select the origin of the whole piece, which is going to be this temporary axis. So once we select that, we see that it appears in this little box. This is going to be basically where the element that we pick, it's basically going to rotate around that axis. Basically, it's kind of like, copy and paste. It's basically going to clone itself around that axis. We'll see in a minute right now. So now over here, you want to go ahead and click on equal spacing, and automatically your angle is going to change to 360 degrees. So it's going to rotate around this axis in total of around 360 degrees. Now here, your number of instances, what this means is that basically what this does is we're going to select this pillar we made, and it's going to copy and paste it around this whole ring. And basically we want a total of 6 of those pillars, including this one. So make sure you're including the one you made. Alright, so now that we have that, under features and faces, we want to click in this box. This is basically features to pattern. And here we're going to select basically kind of the element we want to, copy and paste. So go ahead and click in that box. And over here in this drop down menu, this is going to be your feature manager design tree. You want to go ahead and click on Fillet 2, Cut Extrude 2, and Boss Extrude 3. Alright, so over here in your features and faces, all of those elements selected are going to show up in this box. Let's go ahead and move this around. this box basically tells us that we have a spacing of 360 degrees and instances of 6. Alright, so now we have a preview right here. Down here we can go ahead and select full preview if we want to. I think partial preview might, yeah, full preview looks better. Alright, so if you're not getting this, basically what it's doing here, like I said, it's going to copy that one element around an axis, around around a line. And in this case, it's rotating around the center line or the origin of the whole piece. It's basically taking this one element and copying and pasting around this whole origin. Let's go ahead back into isometric. So once you see this preview, go ahead and click on the check mark. And there we go. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of these little pillars. That's what an instant is. That's why it asks number of instances. And there we have 6. Now, this feature is helpful, so we don't have to, make these pillars one by one every time. Instead, it makes it by itself by just rotating around that axis. So up here on SolidWorks, you want to click on the view, hide/show, and temporary axis. So we won't see those temporary axes again. Alright, so now we're going to add another fillet. This is again a 2mm fillet. So go into your features toolbar, click on fillet. Make sure your fillet type is set to constant size fillets, and make sure it has a radius of 2mm. If it's not, go ahead and change it. And what you want to select is this inner edge. So go ahead and select that. And this outer edge right here. There you go. So it's going to fillet all of the inner edges of that one we just selected and all of the outer edges of that one we just selected. Why? Because it's attached to that circular pattern. If we do it on one instance, it's going to select, or it's going to make it on all the other instances. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Once you use circular pattern, if we use it on the host, let's just call it that, a host, then it's going to make it on the other copies. Just go ahead and click on OK. And there we go. We get those rounded edges once again, such on the inside, such on the outside. And there you go. And there we go. That's basically it. We have this part is already complete, and we can move on to the next step, which is basically making a drawing for this piece. Let's go ahead and minimize this for now. Go into the house icon up here and click on drawing. Now guys, make sure you guys save your part because it is important to do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and go with A3 NZ landscape and just click OK. So once your sheet loads up, you want to go to your right, click on view palette and click on the 3 dots so your file manager will load up, and click on your drawing we just made. I titled it pressure plate. Make sure you guys, remember what you guys titled it and make sure it is easily accessible. Now before adding the first view, go ahead and click anywhere on the sheet. We do need to, play around with the setting. So go up here into options, and basically your system options will pop up, this window right here. Wait for it to load. And once it loads under this tab system options, go ahead under drawings, click on display style. And right here under tangent edges, you want to click on removed. Basically what this is going to do is it's basically going to remove kind of that, fillets on the drawing. You won't see the fillets from the top view, and it's going to have a cleaner look on the drawing. Let me just show you guys how it looks with this without this setting. Let me turn on visible, and let me drag out the top view. Now, as you can see all these circles. We got a bunch of circles right? Basically, and also these, right? These lines right here. Basically, what this is showing us is that all the measurements, or it's basically telling us that there's fillets right here. You won't be able to know, by this 2D look to it, and it also doesn't look that clean. So we're gonna go ahead and remove that. So let me delete this view and go back to the options. Under drawings, click on display style, and we're gonna remove them. So now it's going to look a lot cleaner. So go into your view palette and drag out that top view. And there you go. As you can see, look at that difference. It looks super clean, a lot cleaner, right? As you can see, we don't have all those circles kind of, being kind of annoying, I'd say. Alright, so now once we have our top view, we're going to make a section view. So go into your drawing toolbar, and over here, click on section view. And what you want to do is click on the center of this view, so basically our origin. Once it turns orange, you want to left click it, and you want to click on the check mark. Now a new property manager is going to show up, and under here we're going to go ahead and click flip direction. So right now we have kind of the left side that's showing, but we want the right side. So go ahead and click on that flip direction, and boom, you could see by these arrows that's basically showing the right side. And if with a bit of common sense, you could obviously see that the section view is the right side of the drawing. So go ahead and left click to place, and there you go. We have this section now. So basically we're looking kind of like a section view of this, original drawing. So now in our drawing toolbar, we're going to go ahead and click on detail view. And basically what this is going to make is basically kind of a zoomed in section of a certain drawing. We're going to basically make that zoomed in section on this section 8A. And first off, we're going to go ahead and kind of do this, we're going to kind of estimate it. So we're going to go ahead and click around, right about here maybe. And it's basically going to make a circle. And we could just drag this out to whatever we want. Let's just say right about there. That's kind of like halfway right here. Go ahead and click it. And now it created basically this detail view where we could place it anywhere. So let's go ahead and place it around here maybe. And there you go. So basically, as you can see, this is just a zoomed in view of this little section we marked with the circle. You can see it is, the same thing overall. It's just zoomed in so you could get, that better view. And now what we're going to do is add the overall solid we made. So go to the right into your view palette and drag in the isometric view. I usually like putting them in the top right corner. Now for your display style, you want it shaded, so you get that smoother look, as you can see, without the edges. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and add something that's called center marks. So go into your annotation toolbar and click right here on center mark. So we're going to go ahead and go into our top view, zoom in, and click on this edge on the circle you see. And here in the graphics area, you want to click on this little icon you see. So basically that's going to spread out on all the other circular patterns we made. So basically what these lines do, just by the name, you already know what it does. Center mark, it's obvious. It's going to make it's going to let you know where the center of, this circle, just this circle we made, because we did click on this circle. It's going to let you know where the center is at. And this is basically the center of that circle. It's just kind of like guidelines to let you know, where that circle starts. Alright, so now we're going to add something called center line. So here in your annotation toolbar, go ahead and go to the right and click on center line. And we're going to add it to our section right here. So you want to go ahead and click on this line and this line. So basically here, it's basically making kind of another center mark, like kind of what we did, but this is also known as a center line. This is only for like, these types of side views. So we know this is the center of basically this circle, right? Now we can go ahead and do this for other circles or other holes we have in this section view. So go ahead and click on this line and this line. And there we go, we have that center line. And we could go ahead and add it here on this line and this line. And there we go, we have that center line. So basically, where this hole right here is our origin. And we could go ahead and add the same thing to our detail view. So go ahead and choose this line and this line. And there we go. We have that center mark or that center line as well. And go ahead and click on the check mark on the left. Alright, so now we're going to manually add some dimensions to this top view here, to some circles. So go ahead and click on Smart Dimension here on your annotation. And you just want to basically click on the circle you want. Kind of like we do when we're sketching, just on Smart Dimension and just click on the circle you want. Now what's going to pop up, these buttons, is basically going to adjust your measurement on the four corners of the box you see here, or anywhere where it probably is going to be visible. I'm going to go ahead and choose it on the top right. So I'm going to click, and we're just going to do this for the other circles. So we want here, I want the top right, go ahead and click this inner circle as well, and I'll do bottom right. And you want this big circle, kind of the base, top right, 128 millimeters. And yeah, also you could go ahead and just, move these around freely, whatever you guys want. Alright, and now we're going to our detail view and add some more dimensions. So go ahead into your annotation toolbar, click on Smart Dimension. And we're going to make a dimension from here to here. So go ahead and click on any of these lines. I'm going to click on this one, and I'm going to click on this one, and I'm going to click on this button. Or you could just go ahead and, move it freely where you want. So I'm going to go ahead and align it here, 37 millimeters. And next up, you want to do this fillet here. And it's going to apply a radius because, fillets are roundings. So we want a radius of 2, or it's going to make a radius of 2 right here. And we just want this length between this line and this line. So let's go ahead and do that. Click on this line and this line. And there we go. We have basically a little space of 7. And there we go. We have our dimensions set up. We have that fillet of 2. That spacing of 7, and the overall kind of like the height of 37 millimeters. Alright, so one last thing that we're going to do for this measurement of 27 is that we're going to select it. So once you left click that, your property manager is going to show up, and scroll down over to dimension text and go ahead and click in front right at the left edge of this text you see here, mod/DIM. Go ahead and on the left side type in 6x. What this is basically showing is that there are 6 of these 27 diameter circles, which is true. They're all of these right here. So it's basically telling us that we used a circular pattern, or we made 6 of these circles, right? And we could do exactly the same thing for the 15 millimeter diameter circle, because there are also 6 of those. So go ahead and left click on that, scroll down to dimension text, and on the left side go ahead and click on or type in 6x. So 6 times basically. 6 times of those 15 millimeter circles. And last but not least, we're going to left click on this dimension of 25. Go ahead and scroll down here in dimension text, you're gonna, click on the right side of DIM. You're gonna place a space, and you could do this in all caps. Go ahead and type through. You could also do this with lowercase. I prefer all caps. Go ahead and type this, THRU, through. Click on OK. Basically, what this is telling us, it's telling us that it's a through all cut. Remember, we made a through all cut instead of a blind cut, or instead of a up to surface cut, right? This is a through all cut. So it's letting us know that the cut, there's an extruded cut there, and it's going through the whole piece. And yeah, guys, this is it. This completes the drawing and the part. This is basically it for the whole lesson. And hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Hope you guys did learn a lot. There was a lot to do in this lesson, and it was pretty long. It was kind of an interesting, part. I really enjoyed this part. There's a lot of, circles, and you guys did learn that new circular pattern. And yeah, overall, hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me show you guys the part. Yep, there you go. Make sure you guys save, all your documents, all your solid parts, and all your drawings. Make sure you guys give it a proper name, proper title. Have it somewhere accessible on your computer. And yeah, that's basically it for this lesson. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for more lessons in the future. Thank you.